Hello everyone, hopefully you guys are doing wonderfully. Today I have a very quick texturing tip to cover for environments. That's basically how to make the most out of your color erosion or equivalent if you're using other softwares. This mainly pertains to Gaia or World Machine, and if you're psycho enough to use Houdini like me, obviously this is directly in Houdini. I want to address that real quick. This is mainly going to be for Gaia users, but so why am I not using Gaia? I have my own terrain pipeline in Houdini, and I am very happy with it. So I will be using that. But it also allows me to effectively showcase some stuff a little bit more efficiently, and it's transferable enough to Gaia so that you guys can still follow along reasonably. So let's see what we're working with here. So I have this very quick terrain that I made. It's only about 10 nodes, and most of them are like just masking stuff. Anyways, I have applied a gradient to that just to give it a little bit of initial texturing, and then a fluvial advection node here, which is basically color erosion. So it's going to roll stuff down a hill and sort of color it based on that, and it creates these very nice sediment flows and everything. Fluvial advection or color erosion is definitely the biggest like game changer in Gaia. For Gaia 2, I thought the texturing tools in Gaia 1 were a little bit lackluster because it felt just like blending gradients together. But this genuinely makes a huge difference and can definitely accelerate a lot of workflows. And I use it on pretty much every terrain. And I got the idea for this from Gaia, so credit there. So, anyways, I want to show you the quick change that we can make to take this from looking kind of meh, but I guess a little bit interesting. And by the way, here's how it looks rendered. I'm just gonna let it render here. Like the details of the terrain when it's shaded definitely carry it a bit, but it's not great. Like I wouldn't use this in production. And you can take it further, of course, but sometimes it feels like it's kind of working against your tools, if you know what I mean. So the difference is instead of using a gradient, you can grab a texture from Megascans or any other place. You can grab like literally raw satellite data, which is actually probably the best way to do that, but Megascans textures are quite accessible. So you take that, you map it over the entire terrain. It's literally just like a gravel, rocky texture stuff, but it gives us a lot of really interesting colors. And then I'm distorting this one to get rid of the grass that was here, just because I don't want that to show up on my very pretty mountain, because that would be truly gargantuan grass. And then running that through color erosion produces some very interesting sediment deposits and really breaks up some of the finer details of the texture so that you're pretty much just left with the color profile of it that's and the details will sort of map to the terrain. So this is just a basic example I did. This one a little bit more fine-tuned and pretty, um, but I'm certain you guys can figure out how to do that with color erosion. But yeah, you can see clearly like this is a really solid terrain. And as an additional benefit, if you're doing like snow, this actually really looks good with snow because it's gonna like dirty up some of the snow and allows it to look a lot less samey, right? Like this looks good for like really big patches of snow, but if you want like snow that's been melted and like messed around with, like this can definitely look really good if you want to tune it. So, I'm gonna remove this resample node, which is downscaling the resolution a little bit. So I'm gonna do render it in full 8K. So just gonna take a second here. Looks good. Definitely a lot of detail. So this gives you a very good like basic texture map of the terrain that you can then either, I mean, you can use this just by itself, but in Blender or whatever terrain or whatever software you're using to actually render in, you can definitely blend in some smaller like Megascans textures to add more detail, and this is going to be a great base for that. I'm going to remove the stove real quick because it's not super refined. That just takes a little bit more finesse to get to look right, so I'm just going to go with a simple thing, and then we're going to plug it into our renderer. It's going to take a second to cook. All right. For those of you that are curious how I'm doing this render in Houdini, it is because I have a renderer that I built in OpenCL, and how it does it is it's just reading off the color values of the terrain and then sort of computing the lighting and then baking those into the color values of the terrain, which is very cool, if I may say so myself. It's very helpful for previewing your environments without having to take them outside of Houdini or into Karma, which can be kind of a pain. Anyways, let's talk about what you're actually seeing here. Obviously, start with the obvious. A lot better, a lot more character, and this is to the point where there's very few like real flaws. Like this might be one of them, but like it's within the realm of possibility for terrains to look like this. Maybe it's like I don't know. I'm not a geologist. I'm not gonna talk about it. But the point is, even if this white spot is unrealistic, it's behaving realistically. This is tumbling down and affecting the sediment below, and you can see that because it's lighter here. That's quite important. So nothing really clues your eye into like this is completely unrealistic, and that's just the benefit of using real data in your texture to get a really good distribution of colors. So I've spent 7 minutes talking about a very quick tip, so I'm going to sign off here. I'd like you guys to, hopefully, if you utilize this, like tag me in it if you're posting it somewhere. Definitely join my Discord. We have an entire mega thread for terrain experimenting, which I've documented most of the creation of my terrain tools in Houdini, which were completely responsible for this mesh, for this terrain. So yeah, hopefully see you guys in the Discord. We might do some fun challenges and stuff in a little bit, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I'll see you guys later. Bye.